Welcome back to another episode of Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. We have got a great show in store for you this week. Later in the program, we'll be joined by Bradshaw Mountain High School softball coach Dave Capka. He returns to the show to speak about the season so far, his transition from coaching JV to varsity, and previews their next games against Coconino and Mohave. We'll then be joined by Chino Valley track and field coach Marc Metz. He'll break down how he approaches event changes, what talent the program welcomed back this season, and speaks about upcoming meets. And when we return from break, we'll be joined by CocoNuts Robotics coach Christine Sapio. She returns to the show to speak about regional competitions, how she plans to grow robotics, and breaks down the robot they use in competition. All of that and a whole lot more coming up right here on Off the Bench. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
A new set of tax rules and great weather here in Northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always...
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. I'm joined now by CocoNuts coach Christine Sapio. Coach Sapio, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us again. It's great to be here.
Well, we're very happy to have you. Of course, Coach Dave Thompson is in the room as well. He's just not currently on camera, but we also want to say hello to Coach Thompson as well. Coach Sapio and Coach Thompson joined the show in January to tell us about the CocoNuts Robotics program at Coconino High School. It's a great interview if you want to go check it out. It was at the end of January, and we talked about a lot. So now, since it's been a few months, Coach, I figured why not touch base with my favorite robotics team. Hopefully, we haven't any other robotics teams on the show yet. So there's an asterisk, unfortunately, right next to your name, Coach. But I'm very happy to have you back on. A lot's been going on with your program. You guys have been able to compete in some regional competitions. We'll get a chance to meet some of the students that are a part of the team. We'll talk about the future of robotics. I mean, there's a lot we're going to discuss today. So, Coach, first and foremost, for those who did miss our interview in January, can you just give us a brief, 2-minute kind of bio on the team?
Sure. So the CocoNuts are from Coconino High School. We're a FIRST robotics team, which is for inspiration and recognition of science and technology. In a nutshell, what happens is early January, we're given a new game every season, and that could be anything from storming a medieval castle to fueling a rocket for liftoff to this year's game. And then they're given about 2 months to build a 125-pound machine from scratch to play the game on a field that's about the size of a basketball court with 6 robots on the field at a time.
Now, I know we got a chance to talk about the game that I think you guys are still participating in or still getting ready to participate in Rapid React, I believe is what it was called, which had a lot of moving parts. Again, we won't necessarily cover everything on the show today. Sure. We'll talk about the machine that's behind Coach Sapio. Also, for those who are listening on KVNA 104.7 FM, you can go check out the visual version of the show on Verde Valley TV to kind of get a full scope of what we're talking about and what we're looking at here. We'll try to be as descriptive as we can.
Sure.
Like I said, we haven't had you and Coach Thompson on since January. How have things been going? What have you guys been up to? We'll talk about the regional competitions in just a little bit, but just more so, Coach, how's the season been going?
It's been a whirlwind. It's been pretty wild. So January 8th was our kickoff, and we found out what the robot had to do. So kind of 2 main elements, what the robot has to do. At first, it has to throw 9.5-inch giant tennis balls into this hub that's about 8.5 feet tall. And then the second thing it has to do is scale a set of monkey bars that get progressively higher up to about 7.5 feet in the air. So starting in January, we spent a huge amount of time working on the robots. So the first step was really CADing it out and then doing some prototypes for things like, how are we going to pick up the ball? How are we going to shoot the ball? How are we going to build this climbing mechanism? Then they moved into kind of the programming aspect of it. Actually, how is the robot going to be controlled? What is it going to do during that the autonomous period where the kids are not controlling it, but the robot is responding to pre-programmed instructions? What's our game strategy going to be? And then finally, once they had a working machine, then they started kind of refining those programs. And then we got to go to competition. In the midst of all this, we actually ran our First Tech Challenge State Championship in late February. So we hosted about 40 teams here in Flagstaff from all around the state. And the kids actually put that competition on. So my entire team was involved in volunteering at that event and making that event happen.
Yeah.
So they've been working on that as well. I had a separate group of students that were working on what's called the Chairman's Award and their presentation for that. So they had an essay they had to write. They had a video they had to create. They had a presentation they had to put together. And all of that gets presented to a panel of judges at competition as well.
So a lot of moving parts for this program here. And like you said, Coach, you guys hosted that championship in early February. Can we talk about some of the teams you guys got a chance to compete against?
So we hosted the First Tech Challenge Championship, and we had some teams kind of from all over the state. They played a game that also involved cargo and some different things with that as well. So the two teams that we were able to send on to World Championships were the Catholic Master Builders from Gilbert. They actually won the robot game. And the Roaring Robotics team from Kingman, they actually won what's called the Inspire Award. So there are two Arizona representatives to World Championship. Now, remember, there's actually several levels to first. So this program goes down to as young as 4, and those kids utilize Legos to actually build their robots and to explore some of those different things in STEM. The program that we ran, the championship we ran, is smaller. It's more like an erector set. So the machine you see behind you there is, well, I'll let the kids tell you. It's actually lighter than what's allowed and everything, but it's still about 100 pounds. The First Tech Challenge robots are actually only about in the range of about 40 pounds. And so smaller competition and everything, but these guys are critical in running that event and everything. They actually organize and run that entire championship.
Well, I mean, like Coach Sapio said, there's a lot of moving parts to this competition. That machine that Coach Sapio is talking about, which is behind her, has to not only throw a tennis ball, but also scale monkey bars. And you look at it, and I initially kind of have some worries that it may not be able to do either of those things, but that's a great thing because I'm not in charge of it. So I have no idea how this machine works. And the only way to figure that out is to talk to you, Coach, and some of your teammates as well, some of your students who are working on the project behind you. It's a little hard to describe what it is visibly. So like I said, if you want to check out the visual portion of the show, please go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Verde Valley TV. But Coach, I know you got 4 students behind you. They're all kind of cowered behind the machine. A few of them been glancing over as the interview's been going on, but all 4 of you, I want to welcome you all onto the show. Please step forward. Let's talk to you guys about your machine and how you've been a part of the program. So I know we've got Noah. Noah, you want to raise your hand?
Hi.
Noah's there. Ashton, you want to say something for us?
Hello.
Eugene.
Hi there.
And wrapping up, last but not least, Katie.
Hi.
So you 4 are the CocoNuts this season, correct? So I want to start with Noah, and then we'll work our way down from Noah left to right. So then we'll go Eugene, Ashton, and Kate. Noah, what got you started in robotics, and what made you interested in joining the program?
Well, I've always kind of had a mechanical-oriented mind, and hearing that we had a robotics program made me really excited to see if I could test my skills, also build my skills, and it's turned out amazing. I'm a senior. I've been on the team all 4 years of my high school, and it's just I've learned so much. I've grown a lot, and it's really fun.
Eugene, how about you, man? What made you join the CocoNuts?
Well, I did robotics in like elementary and middle school, and I was like, oh, cool, this is here. I'll try it out, and then it's been great so far.
Ashton?
Yeah, so actually, the CocoNuts have been around for a really long time, as I'm sure you know, and I attended one of their demonstrations actually back when I was in 2nd grade, and that is kind of what sparked me on this journey of getting involved in STEM and actually being a coconut myself. So
Very nice. Kate, how about you?
Kind of the same as Ashton. I saw the CocoNuts growing up, and I thought I wanted to be one of them. They're always super cool. They always had the best robots and everything. So I did robotics in elementary and middle school, and when I got to high school, I joined the team.
So I want someone, decide amongst yourselves to kind of take us through this machine. I just want one of you to do it. How does this machine work? And you know, just in as descriptive as you can be, and as simple as you can be. I'm a sports guy, so a lot of this stuff goes over my head. how does this machine break down? And can we get a little closer to it, Coach Sapio?
Sure.
I will take you through. I did design the robot, so
Okay.
I will kind of show you how it works. So basically, Kate, she's holding the cargo. This is the big tennis ball that Sapio and you were talking about. That has to be thrown. It really is just a giant tennis ball, 9.5 inches of diameter. It's very bouncy. It's awesome.
You guys got to give it back to the team dog after you're done.
Yeah, that's where it's gonna go.
We got a couple of puppers outside that are pretty excited about this ball.
So it is released. So basically, when kickoff starts in January, we immediately go to the rule book and we figure out what we need to do to score as many points as possible, and how to get ranking points. So from watching the game and seeing the animation and seeing what we need to accomplish, we figured we need to be able to shoot balls and we need to be able to climb. So basically the way we decided to get that done is we have this arm right here. This arm comes down like this. It's on this pneumatic piston. Pneumatic is air, so we have an air tank. It's basically like hydraulics, but with just air. This will come down. The ball will feed through under the arm and over this metal here into the hopper of the robot, which is in here. So after it goes through the hopper, so it's actually all these rollers are motorized. Kate is turning it right now to kind of show you its path. It will stop right here since there are other rollers on the other side of the shooter, kind of in this area, that are not motorized yet. So all these are connected with this one motor, and then the other rollers are connected with a different one. Okay. So it'll stop there. We can actually fit another ball in here, which is we're only allowed to carry 2 anyway, so that's perfect for us. And then if we want to come around the back, this right here is what we call our mortar. So this thing, it is designed to literally just shoot the ball out. So the other intake wheels, they spin right here, and then it comes up through, and it fires out with this flywheel. So you can see it spinning there. It's on two motors, so it can spin up quickly. It has flywheels so that it stays quick. And it also has variable velocity so that we can change the arc of the ball. Now, we decided to change the arc of the ball that we would just do the variable velocity instead of different angles, because the fixed angle was just simple. And having one variable is simple. That's kind of a motto of our team: keep it simple, and it'll work. So that's kind of that portion, pulling up the ball, shooting it out into that goal, that basically basketball hoop. So then moving up, we have this whole system right here. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention, this guy right here, this is a vision tracking camera. It will actually track the target that we're shooting at, and it will calculate the velocity that the shooter has to go at, so that we don't have to do it ourselves. So the thing that it's mounted on, these silver bars and this actuator here, these are how we climb the robot into the air with the monkey bars. So the way this thing works is we have springs that will pull it up. I don't know if we'll be able to spin it, but yep. So you can see it's rising right here. That hook up there is going to rise, and it will actually reach a bar. Then we drive into the bar, pull the robot up, and we bring it down so that this bar can activate these basically carabiner hooks.
Right.
They're on a spring and they will snap like that. These will keep it on that bar, and then this hook can now come free and then come back like that.
Right.
So this thing comes back, reaches high again, and will reach the next bar, and then we will pull it with the winch. This is all on a motor. Pull it with the winch, and it will come off of these carabiner hooks.
Yeah.
And then we have to do that a second time to get to the transversal rung. It's really crazy to watch because this robot is swinging as we're doing it, and it's scary, but it's a lot of fun.
How the field test been going?
Yeah, the field test?
Yeah. Have you guys gotten a chance to start the machine up?
I guess we could.
Well, you don't have to. Just more so, how's the machine been working? Has you guys' plan been working pretty well so far?
Yeah, they've been to 2 competitions already, so
Okay,
they can tell you a little bit about how the robot did a competition now too.
So
Noah, please go ahead.
yeah, first we went to Arizona North here locally in Flagstaff. That was the first regional we had ever been to with this robot. We did okay. I would say it was more of a learning experience for us rather than us trying to win the thing. We had a lot of vision tracking issues, so the velocity of this thing was off a lot of the time. We weren't making our shots, and we also did not have our refined climb. This system here, we had a lot simpler to just make it to 1 bar. So I think we ended up ranked 11th out of what 40
teams or so.
40 teams. So we didn't do bad. We did good, but we weren't really satisfied with that. So we kept the design work going. We learned more about our vision tracking camera to adjust for the lighting in the area. We built a whole new climb to get to the transversal rung instead of just the mid rung. And then we competed a couple days ago in Colorado, where we made it to the finals. So we ended up second seeded alliance, and we were third ranked team, second seeded alliance, and we gave the top seat a run for their money, basically. The scores, it was really cool to watch. They would just do this the whole time, and then unfortunately our climb had broke in the finals, so we weren't able to climb, and that basically cost us the match, it's okay though, because we made it to the finals. That's further than we've made it in years. And it's a really big deal for us. We're really satisfied with it.
The machine is absolutely incredible. Again, if you want a chance to take a look at what Coach Sapio and her team has been building, seriously, go check out the YouTube version of this show, Verde Valley TV, youtube.com/Verde Valley TV. It's a very large machine. It's, from what I've been told, it's mobile. It doesn't look mobile, but it moves, it hooks, it jumps, it throws, it does a lot of stuff. And it is absolutely incredible to get a chance to see this thing move and to get a chance to see how it works. Because Coach Sapio, we were talking about it in January, and now there's the machine. There's what we've been talking about for the past couple months. And first and foremost, congratulations to all of you on, I know you didn't win the championship, but like Noah said, never satisfied, always going to the going up. Next competition is going to be first place. One after that's going to be first place. I know, Noah, you want a championship before you graduate. So, hopefully you guys will be able to find that. So to all 4 of you, before we turn it back over to Coach Sapio and wrap up this interview, congratulations. It's wonderful to see you guys competing in robotics. And Kate, I use that term guys very loosely, but really, it's great you kids are participating in this. And this machine is incredible. I have no idea how to do any of this, and you kids are 8 to 1,000 miles ahead of me. So I wish all 4 of you nothing but the best of luck on the season and going forward as well. I'm sure we'll catch up with a couple of you. For those of you who are graduating, I seriously do wish you nothing but the best going forward. And thank you. Thank all 4 of you for taking the time to come on the show.
Sure.
Coach Sapio.
Yeah. So
before I let you go.
Oh, they got some pretty exciting news that they forgot to share, actually.
Please share the news.
They're going to World Championships again.
Fantastic. I was just about to ask you what's next.
So even though they didn't win the robot game, they won an award, a judged award called the Engineering Inspiration Award, which is really recognizing all of their hard work in the community to advanced respect for engineering and engineers. A number of them have also received scholarships from FIRST. So 3 of our students this month were awarded $20,000 scholarships, like this guy right here, to go study. What is it? Computer science and math, and a couple others were awarded. One is going into architecture, and I think the other is going into computer science and programming as well. So we actually have a couple competitions left. We're heading up to Salt Lake City next week, and our alliance partners that we did really well with are going to be up there. So we're hoping to, again, kind of make it into the finals and maybe change that second place to a first place up in Salt Lake City there. And then it's on to World Championships in Houston at the kind of mid-April.
Well, Coach, first and foremost, congratulations and best of luck in Salt Lake City. I hope you guys do exactly that and you get first place, and we can talk about that championship very soon. I do just want to ask real quick before we let you go, what's the future of robotics look for the CocoNuts? I mean, how do you plan to continue to grow this program?
Well, I think it's pretty exciting. So a good chunk of our team is graduating, but those seniors have done an incredible job of training up the freshmen and sophomore and junior members of this team so that they can in turn pass on their skills to the younger students. One of the biggest things that we do to build our program is we support and we mentor the younger teams, especially in our area. So a lot of these guys have mentored elementary and middle school teams. And those kids, as you heard, are going to be super excited to come to high school, come to Coconino and join the CocoNuts. And that's always been our mission, is really to provide opportunity for more people to participate in robotics from the youngest all the way up through high school.
Well, it's got to be a kind of a full 360 for you, Ashton, because you had mentioned in your interview that you and Kate both saw the CocoNuts early on, and both you wanted to join the program. So just real quick before we let you guys go, how cool is it to now be the trainer of the future CocoNuts players potentially?
It's really cool. I get to see myself inspiring other kids, just as I was inspired by the CocoNuts. And that's actually what I wrote about in my essay for the $20,000 scholarship and why I was selected. So it's such a profound thing, I think.
Well, I mean, we talked about, just the few, obviously you kids, Coach Sapio, you mentioned a few of these kids are looking at scholarships, looking at, going in degrees in engineering and going on to the next place. So, it's inspiring work. I'm really happy we got a chance to catch up with you. I know we'll do it again before the season's completely done. Again, I know I ramble so much, but really all five of you and Coach Thompson, six of you of you team. There he is, Coach Dave Thompson. How are you, sir? A late second cameo from Dave Thompson, but seriously, I really enjoyed talking with you guys. Best of luck going forward, and I really keep me up to date on the future of this program, because
sure.
I don't get a chance to talk too much robotics, and this is competition, this is sports, this is just as important as football, and I love getting a chance to break away from the usual. So thank you all for taking the time to come onto the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Go Nuts.
That's right. Go Nuts. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Bradshaw Mountain High School softball coach Dave Capka. Don't go anywhere. Off the bench. We'll be right back.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. I am joined now by Bradshaw Mountain High School softball coach Dave Capka. Coach Capka, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We're very happy to have you, Coach. Of course, we got a chance to speak with Coach Capka during the golf season. He is also the golf coach over at Bradshaw Mountain. He is taking on the varsity duties of the softball coach here at Bradshaw. Coach, you step off the golf course, you go right onto the softball diamond. I know you're the JV coach last year, but what made you feel you were ready to take on the varsity program?
Well, I've been playing softball for many years at the fast pitch level, men's and so forth, and I was the JV coach for the past 7 years. I have some ties with the girls as they went through the program, so I felt very comfortable again in the program. Coach Hayes did a great job building a very strong program, and it was just an easy fit for me to slide right in.
How did the offseason go, Coach? Obviously, you taking over the program. Have you changed the offseason routine at all? Were you guys able to compete in any tournaments, any just offseason workouts in general? Were you able to welcome in some new freshmen that are exciting? Any new transfers? How'd the offseason in general go for you?
The off season was pretty exciting. We did have a transfer come in, a pitcher by the name of Yasmin Bernal. She is now pretty much our ace at this point.
Where's she come from, Coach?
I'm sorry?
Where does she transfer from?
She's coming to us from Orem.
Okay, Utah, right?
No. Orem down here outside of Mayer.
Oh, I forget that there's like another, there's a Cottonwood, Utah. There's like so many. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
no,
go ahead.
Yeah, so she's throwing very well for us. Again, she's pretty much our ace at this point. We have some pretty strong young freshmen that are playing down at the JV level, none at the varsity at this time. In the off season, we had what we called an open field, where we just opened it up. Girls came out and just worked on their game a little bit, got some hitting in, fielding, and so forth. We didn't have a camp like we've had in the past. It is tough, coming from one sport to another as far as being a head coach. So this being the first year, I just kind of testing the waters of where I can get things situated and so forth. So,
well, Coach, you want to say about finance situation? I mean, you have definitely set some things straight here for Bradshaw, because the program, the Bears, are absolutely rolling to start the season. 8-0 overall to kick off the season. 4-0 record in the region. I know you have the rest of the region to face. You've got Coco and Mohave coming up. You still got to take on Mingus as well. But just for right now, I mean, seriously, the Bears are playing very, very well, picking up right where they left off from last season. Coach, how are you feeling about this hot start of the season?
Well, the girls are playing well. They had a great coaching in the past with Coach Hayes. So, they've got the drive, they've got the knowledge just to come in and do what's needed to compete. And right now we haven't played the strongest of the teams. Obviously, Coco sweeping Prescott this week. We know they're going to be our toughest match coming in next week. Right. So we're excited about that. And then, of course, Mingus is really tough, as well as Prescott. So the competition is obviously going to be picking up for us. And I think our girls are up for the challenge and are excited to step up a level as far as the competition that we're going to be seeing here in the next few weeks.
So how are you preparing the teams differently, Coach? I mean, obviously you take every opponent exactly the same. Anyone can beat anyone on any given day, but you say the schedule gets a little tougher here. How are you preparing your team for that tougher schedule?
Well, luckily, quite a few of the kids play travel ball. They know the other teams. They know the players. They face the pitching from Coco, from Mingus, as well as Prescott. So they know the girls. Some of them even played with each other and so forth, that they know what to expect. So they know how to prepare. And I'm lucky enough to have an assistant coach in Matt Williams that coaches a travel ball team that has experienced these other girls through the other teams in travel ball, that he has a great scouting report on those gals as well, that is helping prepare, going forward.
Well, you welcome back 4 seniors from last season's group. Obviously, you've seen these girls grow since they joined your JV program as freshmen and made their way all up to the varsity. Now they're seniors. They're headed off to new things after this season. But at least for now, you've got Shaylin Sullivan, Kayla McDermott, Ashlyn Harriott, and Brenna Lankford. I apologize if I messed up those names. But, Coach, how important is this senior leadership this season? And how have you seen those 4 girls grow since they entered the program?
Kyla and Brenna have really stepped up as the team leaders. They are actually my captains, and they have really worked towards getting the younger girls, in line as to how we run the practice, getting them motivated without the coaches having to step in and, spend extra time preparing those girls. Shaylin, Shay, she's a go-getter. She works hard and improving daily. Ashlyn, this is her first year at the varsity level, and she played for me 3 years at the JV level. And last night she hit her first home run of her career, and it was very exciting to see. So
yeah, so it's
senior leadership is great, and they're doing a great job.
Well, I was going to say it's great to have a senior hit that home run in their final season. I remember my sister going all the way through high school, and she didn't hit her first home run until her last season of community college of softball. So it'll come. For those of you who are curious, if you'll ever get that first home run, it'll come. I promise. But Coach, you've got a talented group of seniors. You welcome back a few more other returners. Some of the sophomores that have really been making an impact. Cadence Williams is leading this small sophomore group. She's currently batting .519 on the season, 14 hits with 6 RBIs. She's also in the circle for you. So along with Cadence, you've got a couple other sophomores you're excited about. Emery Soriano is one, and Megan Sullivan is the other. Coach, what do you think this group can achieve, and how have you seen them grow since last season?
Yeah, I tell you, those two, Emery and Megan, are very tough individuals. Right now, they're vying for our first base position. They're kind of platooning. I'm trying to get a set first baseman, but again, they're so equal. Megan got a great glove at first, can struggle at times hitting, where Emery, she may struggle now and then at her fielding, but is hitting the ball well. So again, platooning is kind of working out for now. And but those two are strong ball players, and obviously are going to be contributing for the next 3 years.
And of course, you've got Cadence Williams in the circle for you, along with the transfer you had mentioned too. But who else can we see finding some time in the circle for you? And how do those two players approach their pitching when they're out on the field?
Well, right now I've got Yasmin Bernal, the transfer. She's a junior and is throwing really, really well. She is 5-0. She's pitched 27 innings, struck it out 55, and given up only one earned run, I should say, and is just lights out. And of course, competition this next week will be the test for Yasmin, but I really see her competing. And Cadence, the same. She doesn't have as many innings. She's 3-0, but every time she gets in the circle, she's improving. She's throwing strikes. She clutches, when she's behind in the count and with runners on. So that's very promising. And then Megan Sullivan is our third pitcher, and she had some struggles early. She's working on things. She throws hard. We just need to get her to consistently throw strikes, but she's going to come around. She's tough. She's a fighter.
Yeah, and it definitely helps that she's only a sophomore, so she's got 2 more years at Bradshaw Mountain, including the rest of her sophomore year, to sort of fix some of those things that you talked about. Again, we're speaking with Bradshaw Mountain High School softball coach Dave Capka. The Bears season is underway. They're currently 8-0 overall, 4-0 in region as of this interview. They got a couple region games coming up here that we'll preview in just a little bit. But Coach, obviously Jasmine Bernal comes in as a transfer. She carries some experience. I'm sure you've got a lot of freshmen and sophomores who come in at playing travel ball. You mentioned travel ball a couple times. Obviously softball, just like baseball, is played year round. But I want to ask, are you seeing more of those club players coming in and participating for you in this program? Or, are they just more of those fresh faces that are returning back to softball after a time away, or are finding the sport for the first time?
It's a combination.
Okay.
A lot of the club ballers are playing at the high school level, which is always great because they do bring that experience. And we are seeing quite a few girls that have never played the sport before and are giving it a go once they get here at the high school. But it's been nice because a lot of these club ballers are really open to helping the younger girls, inexperienced girls, to learn the game and stick with it when it comes to, teaching them the very basics, the fundamentals.
Coach, speaking of the program that you still are a part of course, you're just moving position titles, but or moving positions, I should say. How is the JV team looking since you've moved up?
They're improving. They are still young, obviously, and they split with Lee Williams this week. They won, I believe, 22-0 on Tuesday. Then they come back yesterday, and they had lost, I believe, were 10-run ruled. So again, it's up and down, and again, inexperience, a lot of them. And at that level, we try to get everyone playing time. So that's, again, how you develop the players, is getting them the playing time. So, you're going to have those games. So we see improvement, and that's all we can ask for at that level.
Before you get kicked off taking on Coconino and Mohave, you got a chance to take on Flagstaff and Lee Williams. So far, what have you heard about the region? I know you're keeping track of Coco and Prescott and Mingus. I know you're keeping track of everybody, but what is your interpretation of the region so far this season?
It's wide open. At any time, any day, a team's going to have a breakout game, or they may just, lay down and just have a tough one. So I see it as anyone can win this region. Right now,
Yep.
Obviously, Mingus is the team to beat. I know Coco is very strong. They, like I was saying earlier, swept Prescott. So, again, Mingus is the team I think we're all chasing. But, again, on any given day, it's the team that shows up to play is gonna win it.
It feels like that's the consensus around a lot of the other 4A Grand Canyon region coaches I've got a chance to talk to either on the show or on the field. Coach John Brown feels the same way. It's just going to be a tight region. Like you said, it seems like pretty much everybody is staying competitive. Obviously, you guys are having a great season. Prescott is another really good program. Coach Brian, I've gotten a chance to talk with him. He also says the same thing. Going to be a tight region. You got Flagstaff and Coconino. They're always super competitive. Obviously, Mohave and Lee Williams struggling just a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. Like you said, at any time, anyone can beat anybody. So, Coach, you're going to be taking on Coco and Mohave next week. What are you looking forward? What are you looking forward to when you take on Mohave and Coco?
We're just looking at our girls to come out and play their game. Again, most of them are coming off of club ball. They've played since they were, 5, 6, 7 years. So they know how to play the game. They know what it takes to win, and they just have to be on, their top of the game in order for them to compete. And that's, again, basically what it's going to take to win the game.
Before we let you go, Coach, where's an area you'd like to see this team improve in?
Right now, from what I've seen, we're kind of doing well at all levels. I just think we need to continue to work hard every day at practice to see what they as individual players need to work on as a individual player. As a team, I think we're gelling very nicely. And as individual players, they each have little things they need to work on. And I think that's, again, where they need to kind of concentrate on is their own individual aspect of the game.
He is Bradshaw Mountain High School softball coach Dave Capka. Coach Capka, thank you very much for coming on the show to give us an update on the program. I'm sure we'll touch base again as we get closer to the middle to end of season.
All right. I appreciate having me.
Yes, sir. Of course. Have a great rest of your day. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Chino Valley High School track and field coach Marc Metz right here on Off the Bench. Don't go anywhere.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. I'm joined now by Chino Valley High School track and field coach Marc Metz, but if you're watching along on Verde Valley TV, it looks more like a United Nations meeting. So, President Metz, I'm very happy to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
Of course, Coach Metz, outside of coaching track and field, is also a history teacher over at Chino Valley High School. So behind him is this beautiful backdrop of the U.S. for those who are listening on KVNA. But taking the visual cues out of here, Coach, you guys got a chance to compete in the state playoffs last season. I know we got a chance to talk a little bit before you guys got into the mix of those playoffs, but here as we start the new season, we're already kind of in the mix of it. I just want to ask, how do you feel last season's state playoffs went? And how do you feel the season just in general went last year?
I thought last season, it was kind of a different season coming off COVID and track, and it got started a little bit later. And then about the limitations that we had at the meets, number of schools, we had masks, sign a COVID waiver, all that stuff. But it went on and it went very well. We had really good teams and individuals make it to state, even to the state finals in the sprints, distance, the relays. So yeah, I was very pleased about last season. And we lost a few, but we had a lot of returners. So I was really happy coming into this season.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about those returners. But Coach, at the end of the season, what did you tell your seniors before you sent them off to the next phase in their lives?
I just appreciated what they had to go through the last couple of years for 2020 the season being canceled. And then we started into it 3 meets and then coming back and then we had a little break because we had a little high numbers here over in Chino. And so we had about, the last 2 weeks before Christmas and the first 6 weeks of, going in after New Year's. So a lot of kids still ran. They asked me what to do workouts. I couldn't really, I just said, I'm going to meet here, but I met at a park, and I had quite a few turnouts. So I was really happy about that. And so it was kind of, every year it's at the end of the season, it's always tough saying goodbye to these people that meant so much to the program. Last year I only had a few. This year I have quite a few. So it's going to be fairly difficult, but basically thank you for being good leaders and good work ethic and kind of training the younger kids.
How did the offseason go, Coach, regarding some of those younger kids? Were you able to welcome in some freshmen into the program in the offseason?
Yes, we have a few freshmen out. We had actually our biggest impact was probably people that came out, either they transferred or came in. And then we've had kind of a good upperclassman returning. So the freshmen, they'll be there, maybe not this year, but someone like Sammy Peterson in the sprints for the girls and long jump. And that's probably the one that's really kind of standing out for at least the freshmen.
Right. Just in terms of your returners, you already mentioned a couple players, but you welcome back, just to name a few here, Alfredo Garish, Johnny Parrish, and Macy Fry, just a couple on both sides. But who else are you excited to have back? Like you said, you got a bigger senior class this year.
Well, for the boys, Andre Kumar, he's doing really well. He ran cross country, had a really good breakthrough season in cross country. And he was really excited, and he likes track more than cross country. And but he was like my number 2 runner in cross country. So he came in and first meet, he broke the school record in the 400 and almost did in the 200 in the same meet. Someone like Dylan Eisner, distance runner, senior. We have Johnny Parrish, football player. Like you said, Alfredo. Brody Ryan, he's a sophomore hurdles. And then we had LJ Soto in the throws. Then we had a football player come out, Kaden Wagner. First meet, he breaks the school record in the Javelin.
Wow.
So yeah, he was a quarterback in middle school, and then kind of his freshman year. For the girls, some of the returners, we have Natalie Bannister in the hurdles and the relays, Emily Rudnick, sprints and relays, Danielle Graham, the 800 and relays, Jackie Ocampo, relays, long jump. And then we had a transfer, Olivia Colasano, and she played soccer and basketball, but she is like what you think of as like a track athlete. She's done triple jump, sprints, done some hurdles, relays, and she did pole vault. She's the first Chino Valley person ever to do pole vault. And with the help of Prescott High, she went and got second place in her first meet with 2 practices. So it really helps with her because she was on the show American Ninja Warrior. Yeah, so she has the upper body strength to kind of do that. So.
Well, how cool. What a great experience for her. And it sounds like you're welcoming in another talented group, returning another talented group, like you said, a couple of new faces. The javelin. How do you teach somebody to throw the javelin? I got an opportunity to do it when I was at Grand Canyon University. I did a whole interview with one of the javelin throwers, and man, I could not figure it out. It's like throwing a big dart, and I'm terrible at darts. So, how do you kind of approach, teaching a player, a brand new track player, an event like that?
They I want to say it's about 5-6 years ago, they introduced it, and we didn't have any javelins. I got some practice javelins quick because they were easier to get. And the coach, our throwing coach, had kind of thrown javelin back when he was in college, like 30, 40 years ago. So he was able to look some stuff up, and it is like a dart. I mean, your experience. So a lot of them will come in and they'll want to throw it like a baseball or football, and then they flick their wrist, and you can't do that. You have to point it like a dart, like you were saying. So I've tried it, and I still want to follow through like a baseball.
Yeah,
or football. And yeah, it's difficult, but I like to also try it so that I can show them, as I'm teaching them. Some of them, will need some help, and it's like, hey, I can help you out a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my previous sports ruined my javelin career and my golf career. I can't throw a javelin because of baseball, and I can't hit a golf ball because of baseball without slicing it. So, well, maybe I'll have to get down to the track field and actually get some pointers here. But Coach, what about kids who want to change events? I mean, I'm sure there's been years in the past, or at least years this, maybe even this season, or again, before, where kids who have been like, hey, Coach Metz, I'm running the 100 hurdles, but I'd love to kind of try discus, or I'd love to try shot put, or I'd love to try hurdles, or I'd love to try long jump or whatever. So, I got a chance to ask Coach Barkeen of Flagstaff this same question. So I want to present it to you as well. How do you approach players who want to change events? Are you just taking it one step at a time? Have there been instances where, okay, I know you want to do javelin, but we really kind of need you in the long jump because you're really good there. So where do you find that balance of allowing obviously these kids to explore their talents, but at the same time understanding that, certain talents are in the areas where they need to be for a reason?
Right. So the way I've approached this, I started out the middle school for a few years, and I've been here as head coach since 2007. And I think the biggest thing is, okay, everybody comes out, first day of track practice, 3/4 of the team wants to be sprinters. It's short, it's easy. And so then I bring out the hurdles and I put them on the grass. I say, go over a hurdle. I don't tell them what to do. Go over a hurdle. And I can tell right away who's going to be a hurdler and who's not. And so that kind of is good. It's sprints, but you're working on hurdles. And then we, hey, let's mess around with jumps. I kind of let them go for the first couple weeks and experiment with different things and say, hey, you look like you'd be this. How about you go try it? A lot of times they will. And sometimes, like I had this freshman girl who's running the 400, soccer player, basketball player. And I said, hey, why don't we try the 800? And she did it. And I think we found an event for her. So I think that's kind of the thing, is like, say, hey, look, why don't we try this? And if they're kind of hesitant, I'm not going to really push them, but I'm saying, hey, there's certain events, 100, like some meets I'm only allowed 3 entries, but like triple jump, we have 1 girl's triple jumper. If you want to come to some of these varsity meets, why don't you try some of these other events that you might be able to participate in? And that's usually I get some out.
Okay. So, kind of moving in here, Coach, obviously the track and field season is underway for Chino Valley High School. They started the season at the Boulder Creek home meet, then followed that up with the trip to the Banner Sports Medicine Invitational, the Mountain Ridge Track Invite, and then finishing out the first part of their season with the Valley Christian Early Qualifier. So, Coach, just in general, how have these first few meets been going? What have they told you about your team, and who stood out during a lot of those meets?
Well, going into the season, my assistant coach, who's a sprint coach, jump coach, and my assistant, or I wasn't the assistant, he was the girls' cross-country coach, Aaron Smoot. He left to go to Hawaii. And so I was down a really important coach. And we replaced him with one of my former runners, and who knows it, but we're down a coach. So one of the things that's been kind of like, whoa, kind of doing a little bit of everything. I feel like a middle school coach all over again. I'm the distance coach, but I've been coaching hurdles and jumps and everything. So I knew we had a good core returning, and we actually have quite a few kids out. It's the biggest group we've had out in a long time, maybe ever. We're mid-60s right now. A few people have fallen off, but I'm really happy. The first meet, was at Boulder Creek. Boulder Creek, I think Senator Day O'Connor and Centennial were there, 6A and 5A schools. 2, 3, 4 times the size of us. Their teams have over 100. We have 60, and we held our own. They weren't necessarily competing in every single event and try to win it. But we were holding our own, and we had school record. Andre Kumar in the 400 nearly got the 200. So we had Chandler on Friday for Division III, and 5 meets we've had 5 school records. And usually we might get one, and we're looking for it and close, and we're close in a couple others. So someone like that, we had a meet on Wednesday, and you asked me about people returning, and I forgot kind of somebody I'm related to is Quentin. And he won the 800. And just to watch him run, we have and really with the girls, the 4x1, we were ranked number 1 in state. And we don't necessarily have the top sprinters, but we have 4 really good girls that are there and really good handoffs. So that really helps. And they're just, what I can say about this team, I enjoy coaching them. They're very coachable. They're fun to be around. And it makes it enjoyable when I go to practice, go to meets, that they're working hard and doing well. Not just the top people, but the bottom people. Are we getting personal records and trying to do your best?
Well, Coach, it definitely sounds like you've got a lot of confidence in this group this season. Obviously, you're enjoying coaching them, even though you're taking on a little bit more of a role this season because, like you said, Coach Smoot left. But I feel like confidence starts at the top and goes down. If you're confident, Coach, everyone else is confident, and you've seen it. And it's great to know, because I know you want to improve the finishes in state from last season going into this year. I know you'd love to finish in first place, but just getting a couple of those kids qualified and, like you said, building up their confidence to take a chance on a new event, or just oh man, Coach, I set a personal record this week. It's like, yeah, great. I'm glad you did. Awesome. Let's try to beat it next week, or let's try to get close to it the week after. So I'm loving the confidence, Coach. I kind of keep going through the schedule here. We're talking to Coach Metz a little early in the season. They're currently in the middle of the 82nd annual Nike Chandler Rotary Track and Field Classic. Coach, like I said, by the time this interview's out, you guys will be done at that meet. But I just want to ask, what are your early interpretations of the event so far? I hate to say it, but I don't know at this point if you guys have gone down there just yet. So I want to ask, if so, how's it going? If not, who are you expecting to take on?
So with this, Chandler Invite is the biggest meet in the state of Arizona. And 30 years ago when I competed in it down in the valley at Sora High School, it was a kind of a morning and an evening session. And now they have a morning and evening for the elite on Saturday. They actually have, on Friday, they have for Division 1 and 2 schools that kind of have people that couldn't qualify for Saturday. And then they have a Division 3 and Division 4. And that's what we did earlier this week. And so it was just like 15 Division 3 schools. And we held our own. We were, I didn't see the final placing, but we were in 4th for both boys and girls. So I was really happy about that. And I didn't necessarily run some of the top people in all the events, because some of them are actually running, they qualified for either Saturday morning or the elite session, which is Saturday evening. Mm-hmm. So like Andre Kumar and Kaden Wagner made it respectively in the 400 and the Javelin in the elite session. So that's like, I can't remember how it states. There's Texas and New Mexico and Colorado and California. So it's this huge meet. I just want them to experience that and see what it's all about. Even when we go in the morning, it's still a really good meet, and by far the biggest one we've been to. And just for them to see all the good runners and competition, they've been having success, but don't get complacent. Don't just settle. We have some work to do if we want it, like you're saying, to the end of the state meet. How can we place? Well, we have to keep on improving, keep on working at it, and trying to get there by the end of the season.
Again, we were speaking with Chino Valley High School track and field coach Marc Metz. Like I said, season going along for Chino Valley right now. They'll take a trip to the SaberCat Co-Ed Relays on April 1st. Again, we're talking to Coach Metz just a little bit before then, and then before they head over to the Mingus Invitational. So, Coach, similar question to before. Who are you expecting in those 2 meets, and how are you preparing the team?
Well, I've always liked the relay meet, especially we get so focused nowadays in track about, somebody ran this at a meet, and it's kind of the focus is kind of shifted from like how well you're doing, instead of like, hey, how can you help the team? They've kind of lessened that. So I kind of want to do something fun. So this relay meet came up, and we did it, I think in 2019. Mm-hmm. And the seniors now, when they were freshmen, when they were there, they really enjoyed it. So it came back, and so I just said, hey, let's do it. They have some different races, some of the same, some of them different, and they're excited about that. So it'll be kind of some events they don't have in state. Like they have the distance medley where they have basically 1,200, 400, 800, 1,600. They have the sprint medley, which is the 100, 100, 200, 400. They don't have those at the state meet. So they're just going to have fun with it. They're excited about that. There's a mascot relay. There's a throwers relay when they have a
mascot relay will be fun.
They're going to have fun. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. And then, that's the first week of April. Then we have about a month and kind of shifting our focus, back to the end of the season, try to get our marks. We have the Mingus invite for the, we have the distance meet on the same day in Scottsdale. And so I'm bringing the distance runners down to Scottsdale, and then most of the team will be over at Mingus for that. So, trying to get them ready and focused, and then, sometimes you get a little too focused, and like, hey, how are you running? It's like, well, let's enjoy it, because that's why out here you talked about, you play baseball. And sometimes all the other sports, you kind of get wrapped up in like, hey, and it's like, hey, why are we out here? We're supposed to have fun. So,
right.
And incorporate that into practice, sometimes playing games and just doing some fun stuff to kind of, let them lighten the mood up a little bit.
Well, like you said, Coach, keeping it fun. Obviously track and field, there's the team component. There's also the individual component. And, I know you're giving your kids the confidence that you have in them. And I look forward to hearing about the SaberCat co-ed relays along with the Mingus Invitational. So, Coach, best of luck in both of those, and also in the Chandler meet that you guys are still currently competing in as of this interview. But Coach Metz, I appreciate your time as usual. I know we'll catch back up mid-season, and we'll talk as we get closer to the state qualifiers. So best of luck, safe travels, and best of luck in your United Nations meeting as well.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
That's going to do it for this episode of Off the Bench. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo, wishing you a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you again next week.